Hey everybody, welcome in. Today we're going to be taking a look at grade 4 module 1 lesson 14 problem set. And in this lesson what we're going to do is we're going to continue to use our place value understanding to decompose to smaller units up to 3 times using the standard subtraction algorithm, and then apply the algorithm to solve word problems using tape diagrams. So what that means is in the last video, lesson 13, we were only regrouping one time. For these problems here, we may need to regroup one time, we may need to regroup 2 times, we may need to regroup up to 3 times. So let's go ahead and dive in with some of these just sort of rote problems. Number 1 says use the standard algorithm to solve the following subtraction problems. So for letter A, we're going to go ahead and start again, as always, in our ones place by doing 0 minus 0, which is 0. And like we talked about in the last video, when we have a smaller number up here and a larger number down here, we need to regroup from the next largest place value. So instead of using 400s, we're going to regroup 400s for 300s and then 10 tens. And we already have a 6 in the tens place here. So that's going to give us 16 tens. And 16 minus 7 is 9. 3 minus 3 is 0. And 2 minus 1 is 1 to give us 1090. Not too bad in letter A, only had to regroup one time. In letter D, we have 2,460 minus 1,472, and off the bat, we have to regroup. We have a 2 down here, which is larger than the 0 up here, so we're going to have to regroup from our tens. So rather than having 6 tens and 0 ones, we're going to regroup that for 5 tens and 10 ones, and then we could subtract 10 minus 2, which gives us 8. Now, over here, we're going to have to regroup again. And we're going to be working with this 5 because we regrouped 6 of the 10s for 5 tens and 10 ones, so we could subtract in our ones place. So now we're only left with 5 tens, and I need to take away 7 tens, which I can't do here. So I need to regroup from the hundreds. So I'm going to regroup 4 hundreds for 3 hundreds and 10 tens, and I already have 5 tens. So that's going to become 15 tens. And 15 minus 7 is 8. And now we need to regroup again a third time because we have 300s and we need to take away 400s. So we need to regroup over here from the thousands. So 2000s is going to be regrouped for 1000, and 10 hundreds plus the 3 I already have makes 13. And 13 minus 4 is 9. And 1 minus 1 is 0 to give us 988. So when we're doing the subtraction, it's really super important that you're neat with your work, first of all, and second of all, you understand what's happening with all of the regrouping of place values. If you don't have any ones, you need to regroup from tens. You take one away, you need to use that new number for your subtraction. Let's take a look over here at letter E, where we have 6 ones and we need to take away 7 ones. So normally what we would do is we would regroup over here from the tens place, but there are no tens. So we need to regroup all the way over here from the hundreds. So instead of using 300s, we're going to regroup 300s for 200s and 10 tens. I still didn't solve my problem of needing ones though, but at least now I have some tens to take from. So rather than having 10 tens, now I have 9 tens and 10 ones plus the 6 I already have, which makes 16. So we needed to regroup all the way over here from the hundreds, regroup 100 for 10 tens, then regroup 10 tens for 10 ones. So 16 minus 7 is 9. 9 minus 1 is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Now over here in my 10,000s place, I need to regroup. So I'm going to take away one of the 100,000s, regroup it for 10 10,000ths to give me 12 over here, and 12 minus 3 is 9, and I have no 100,000ths for a difference of 93,189. Letter G is a little bit of a doozy, because not only do we have no tens to regroup from, we don't have any hundreds to regroup from. So 6 minus 7 can't do. 7 is the larger number down here on bottom, so I need to be able to get some ones so I can accurately subtract. Again, go over to the tens, nobody's home. Go over to the hundreds, nobody's home. I need to regroup all the way over here from the thousands place. So I'm going to regroup 4 thousands for 3 thousands and 10 hundreds. Again, still didn't solve my problem of needing ones though, and I don't have any tens that I could take from. So I need to regroup 10 hundreds for 9 hundreds and 10 tens. Again, still don't have ones, but now after all that regrouping, I now have some tens that I can take from. So instead of 10 tens, I have 9 tens, and now I can finally have 10 ones plus the 6 ones I already have, which gives me 16. So I had to regroup all the way over from my thousands place here. 16 minus 7 is 9. 9 minus 1 is 8. 9 minus 1 is 8 again. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. And 1 minus 1 is also 0 to make 2,889. Letter H. 4 minus 5, again, cannot do. I have a large number here on bottom, and I can't just say, oh, well, I'll just flip-flop and do 5 minus 4. Can't do that. Got to regroup from the next largest place value. So I'm going to regroup 8 tens for 7 tens and 10 ones. I already have 4 ones, so put those together. The 10 that I regrouped plus the ones I already have would give me 14 ones. 14 minus 5 is 9. 7 minus nothing I am able to do, which is 7. 6 minus 7 I cannot do. I need to regroup, so I'm going to regroup from the thousands place. So 7 thousands is going to become 6,000, and 10 in the hundreds, 10 hundreds plus the 6 I already have gives me 16. Now I'm able to subtract. 16 minus 7 is 9. 6 minus 7 cannot do. Need to regroup from my 10,000s. So 9 10,000s can become 8 10,000s. So I can have 10 extra thousands to subtract from. 16 minus 7 is 9. And 8 minus 4 is 4, for a difference of 49,979. And last but not least, letter I. 0 minus 7, not able to do. I do have some tens that I can take from, so I'm going to regroup 6 tens for 5 tens and 10 ones. 10 minus 7 is 3. 5 minus 1 is 4. No hundreds, take away 100s. Got to regroup. So I'm going to regroup 4 thousands for 3 thousands and 10 hundreds. 10 minus 1 is 9. 3 minus 1 I'm able to do, which is 2. Can't do 2 minus 3, so I'll have to regroup. So I have no 10,000s, but now I have 12. I'm sorry, I have no 100,000s, but I do now have 12. 10,000s and 12 minus 3 is 9, for a difference of 92,943. Going to put some of these subtraction problems into context here. The directions say draw a tape diagram to represent each problem, use numbers to solve, and write your answer as a statement and check your answers. So there are 400 seconds in one day. If Mr. Legal is at work for 28,800 seconds a day, how many seconds is he away from work? So again, when we're doing this subtraction, we really need to think, what's the whole and what are my two parts? And we'll use this tape diagram to illustrate that. So in an entire day, one whole day, there's 86,400 seconds. So that's in the entire day. Now my two parts are the time Mr. Legal is at work, and he's spending 28,800 seconds a day while he's at work. And then there's some time where he's not at work. He's away from work. So there's my two parts. One part is the time spent at work. The other part is the time spent not at work. So this is what we don't know. This is what we need to find. So we can take our whole, subtract off a part, and we'll be left with this other part. So 86,400 seconds minus the time he's at work, which is 28,800 seconds, will leave us with the time away from work. Starting in the ones place, again, lining up all of my place values. So I'm subtracting ones from ones, tens from tens, hundred from hundreds. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 again is still 0. 4 take away 8. Here's where I'm going to have to regroup. So I'm going to regroup 6,000s, 4 5,000s, and 10 more hundreds. And I already have 4 hundreds, so that'll give me 14. So 14 minus 8 is 6. Now I'll have to regroup again because I have 5,000s trying to take away 8,000s. So I'll regroup from my 10,000s. So I'll regroup 8 10,000s for 7 10,000s, and that will give me 10 extra thousands to play with, and I already have 5. So 15 minus 8 is 7, and 7 minus 2 is 5, which makes 57,600 seconds away from work. They ask us to check our answer. So again, we can check our subtraction using addition. So if I take 57,600 seconds, which is the time he's spending, we just found, away from work, plus the time he is spending at work, that should give us his total amount of time in one day, which is 86,400 seconds. So let's add 28,800. 0, 0. 8 plus 6 is 14. 1 plus 7 is 8. Plus another 8 is 16. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 2 more is 8 to make 86,400. Checks out. So we can say with confidence that Mr. Legal spending 57,600 seconds away from work. Number 3 says a newspaper company delivered 240,900 newspapers before 6 a.m. on Sunday. There were a total of 525,600 newspapers to deliver. How many more newspapers needed to be delivered on Sunday? So, again, a newspaper company delivered this many newspapers before 6 a.m. on Sunday. There was a total of 525,600 newspapers to deliver. And since we see this word total here, that tells us this is the total, or the amount of newspapers that needed to be delivered in all, in the entire day. So some were delivered before 6 a.m. Our job is to figure out how many more newspapers needed to be delivered on Sunday. And when we see these three words, how many more, that is almost always a sort of word problem giveaway that you need to subtract. So we have our total number of newspapers that needs to be delivered on Sunday, which is 525,600. Some newspapers were already delivered before 6 a.m., and that was 240,900. And what we don't know is the leftover amount. So really, these are the newspapers delivered after 6 a.m. So we'll subtract to figure out how many papers were delivered after 6 a.m. So my total amount of newspapers minus the newspapers that were already delivered will be how many more newspapers need to be delivered that day. Again, lining up my place values, so subtracting ones from ones, tens from tens. 0 minus 0 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 9, here's where I need to regroup. So I'm going to take from the thousands place instead of 5 thousands. I'm going to reimagine it as 4 thousands and 10 extra hundreds plus the 6 I already have, which gives me 16. Go ahead and do that subtraction there. 16 minus 9 is 7. In my thousands place, I have a 4, take away 0, which I can do is 4. Here I need to regroup in my 10,000s place because 4 on the bottom is greater than the 2 on top. So we're going to go over to the next largest place value, my 100,000s, and regroup it for 4 in the 100,000s for 10 more 10,000s, which makes 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. And 4 minus 2 is 2. So they still need to deliver 284,700 papers. Going to check my work by doing that amount, that difference, plus the amount that was already delivered, and if I did the arithmetic correct, I should end up with my total, 525,600. As long as this sum checks out to that, we know we did it correctly. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 7 is 16. 1 plus 4 is 5. 8 plus 4 is 12. And 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5 to make 525,600, and that checks out. So we know that this right here is the correct difference. So to put it in a sentence and answer, we could say 284,700 more newspapers need to be delivered. Number 4, a theater holds 2,013 chairs. 197 chairs are in the VIP section. How many chairs are not in the VIP section? I think this problem does a good job of really illustrating that we have a whole and we have two parts. So we have this theater, and there's a total of 2,013 chairs. That's how many chairs there are in all. Some of them are in the VIP section. 197 are in the VIP section, and we need to figure out how many are not. How many chairs are not in the VIP section? So there's chairs that are in the VIP section, there's chairs that are not in the VIP section. But all in all, there's 2,013 chairs in both the VIP section and the non-VIP section. So total number of chairs, one part is 197. Again, this is the VIP section. This part over here that we need to figure out is the non-VIP section. Again, we'll use subtraction. 4-digit number minus a 3-digit number, so I need to make sure I'm lining up my place values to the right-hand side. So if you're not sure if you're doing this correctly, line up your ones place first. Again, we are always lining up our place values on the right, lining up our ones places. As I look at this problem, I can tell that there's going to be a ton of regrouping. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we have 3 ones trying to take away 7 ones, which we cannot do. Luckily, we have some 10s over here. So I'm going to regroup one of these 10s. So now I'm left with 0 10s to make 10 extra ones plus the 3 I already have, which is 13. 13 minus 7 is 6. Now, moving over to my tens place, I have no 10s, so take a 9 away from. I have no hundreds to regroup from, I have to jump all the way over here to the thousands place to regroup. So I'm going to regroup 2 thousands for 1,000 and 10 hundreds. Still didn't solve my issue of needing tens though, but now I have some hundreds I can take from. So instead of having 10 hundreds, I'm going to regroup that for 9 hundreds, and that gives me 10 tens. 10 tens minus 9 tens is 110, and 9 minus 1 is 8, and 1 minus nothing is 1. So there should be 1,816 chairs in the non-VIP section. We'll go ahead and check our work again by taking our difference and adding it to the smaller part, and that should give us our total amount of chairs. Again, non-VIP chairs plus VIP chairs should give me total number of chairs. So 1,816 plus 197. 6 plus 7 is 13. Down to 3, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 9 is 11. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And I get 2,013, which again was my starting amount. So I know that this is the correct difference. So, as a sentence, we could say there are 1,816 chairs that are not in the VIP section. Number 5 says Chuck's mom spent $19,155 on a new car. She had $30,064 in her bank account. How much money does Chuck's mom have after buying the car? So she spent, let me use yellow. She spent $19,155 on a new car, and she had $30,064 in her bank account, and we're tasked with finding how much money does she have after buying the car. So, again, just to use a tape diagram, she had $30,064. Then she bought the car, which is $19,155. This is for the car. So the amount of money is left. The amount of money that we need to solve for is how much she still has left in her account. So leftover amount. So we're going to take the amount of money she has and subtract off the price of the brand new car. And that will leave us with how much money she has left over. 4 minus 5, can't do in my ones. I need to regroup. So I'm going to regroup from over here in my tens. So instead of having 6 tens, I now have 5 tens. And I can regroup one of those tens that I took away for 10 ones. Give me 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. 5 minus 5 is 0. Now 0 minus 1, I would need to regroup. Don't have any thousands to regroup from, so I need to jump all the way over here to my 10,000. So I'm going to regroup 3 10,000s for 2 10,000s and 10 in the thousands place. Still didn't solve my problem of needing hundreds, but now I have some thousands I can take from. So instead of having 10,000s, I'll now have 9, and I'm going to regroup that 1,000 that I took away for 10 hundreds. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So she should still have $10,909 in her bank account. We'll check our work using addition. So we'll take the amount that she should have left over, just $10,909, plus the price of the new car, And that should give us the amount of money that she had before she bought the car. 9 plus 5, 14. 1 plus 0 plus 5 is 6. 9 plus 1 is 10. Regroup. 1 plus 0 is 1, plus another 9 is 10. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, to make $30,064. That checks. So we know that this is the amount of money she has left over. So we can say Chuck's mom has $10,909 in her bank account after buying her new